Hello, today I'm doing something a little bit different. So today I'm going to compare the difference between the cool mist method and an ice dye method. So I started by tying this up in a geode pattern. So you just grab a random piece and then you're going to wrap it around about 5 times. Grab your sinew puller and tie that really tight until you feel a little tug. And then you continue doing this for the rest of your sweater. I don't cut between each of my ties. I used to do that, so that's what you saw there, but I don't do that anymore. I just keep the tie continued on there. English is my first language, despite the fact that I can't get any words out of my mouth. All right, so I'm tying this up in a geode pattern. This is a children's pullover, so it's 50% cotton and it has been soda ash soaked for at least 20 minutes and it's slightly damp, so I hand wrung it out. I now like to tie dry. It just is easier with the sinew and the sinew puller. It's not as slippery. Alright, so the first color I put on was called Chino, and this is by Prochem. I just put it right there on the sinew lines. I'm just using a plastic spoon for this. You can use a longer spoon, like a milkshake spoon. That's what I use now more often. And then I'm just sprinkling just a tiny bit of water on it and flipped it over, and now I'm doing the other side. And sprinkling a bit more water on there. And then the next color I used is called Mermaid's Dream, and I just kind of sprinkled it everywhere, kind of avoiding the sinew lines a little bit, but you don't have to. And then I sprinkled the water on there, flipped it over, and repeated the same process. You can see over there I've got a hot pot of water. I put it in that hot pot of water and then put it on low heat, so it got really hot, but not boiling. And here I am rinsing it out after about an hour of sitting in hot water. I'm rinsing in cool water as I untie it, and then after it's been in cool water I bump it up to hot water and rinse it in the hot water. With this method of the cool mist method, where you sit it in really hot water, the rinse out process is a lot easier. So that's one thing to take note of. The rinse out process for this compared to ice dye is a lot simpler, probably like half the amount of time. All right, so this is the final result of the cool mist method. And next I'm gonna show you how I did the ice dye method, and then at the end of the video you'll see how they compare to each other. So same thing, tying up the geode just like I did on the last one. Alright, so once you get that all tied up, you're going to apply the dye the same way. So I took Chino and I put it on the sinew lines. You can see I folded a little bit of tin foil and I kind of made a little bit of a barrier. You can do this also with cardboard. Tin foil is a lot flimsier than cardboard, but was a lot more accessible to me, so I ended up using tinfoil. Then of course I did Mermaid's Dream. Again, same thing, applied the dye in the same manner, but for this project with the ice dye I did not flip it over. So I don't flip over typically when I'm doing ice dye. Here I'm adding the ice and just kind of supporting the barrier a little bit so that the ice will stick to the wet shirt. The shirt was prepared the same as the last one. And here we go. Here's this rinse out process. You'll see how much dye there still is that needs to be rinsed. So that's why it takes so much time to really rinse when you're rinsing ice dye. For this one, I put it in a hot pot of water with Dawn dish soap and let it soak. I don't do this very often anymore. Usually I just wash it in a hot washing machine. But this is a method I've seen used, especially with teals, to put it in hot water and let it boil out the excess. Just know that it will get some blue on your white space if you do it this way. And here's the final result of this one. You can see these turquoise colors are a lot bolder and the chino didn't travel as far. So those were kind of the differences between the ice and the cool mist method. I utilize these methods depending on my need. So like I said, there are pros and cons to both, but give them a try and let me know how it goes for you.